Hi guys, thanks for tuning into my channel and for watching another episode of Conversations with Diana, where I interview real people who have real stories, who are pursuing their passions in order to make a difference in the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, share, and enable that notification button so you don't miss an episode. And for those of you who wish to be a sponsor for our upcoming episodes, feel free to email me at info@dianamyrie.com. That's info@dianamyrie.com. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Diana. Today I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing none other than Bishop Ransford Jones. Bishop Ransford Jones is a visionary and motivational speaker, author, entrepreneur, community advocate, and the lead pastor for Destiny Gospel Center, a church he pioneered and planted in 2008 in the City of Markham, Ontario. He was also appointed to the position of bishop in 2007 and supervises 9 churches on the Scarborough and Markham District. He is the current chairman of the Canadian Black Clergies and Allies, a collective multi-denominational group of Black Clergies and Allies in Ontario. He holds several titles and facilitates programs for young Black youth within the community. Bishop Jones served as a chief architect and chairman of the Jamaican Canadian Covid-19 Telethon, which mobilized the community across Canada to raise approximately 15,000 Canadian dollars to assist Jamaican nationals and international students that were stranded in Canada. Some of his notable awards and achievements are the George William Gordon Award for Human Rights in 2020, the Extraordinary Contribution to the Markham African Canadian Association in 2013, City of Markham Citation for Outstanding Contribution and Service to the Community in 2012, the African Canadian Achievement Award for Excellence in Religion, and the Wines Canada, which is a Toyota and Lexus affiliate, International Award for Excellence in Management. He also holds an honorary doctorate in divinity from the Canadian International University Seminary. He has a master's degree in Christian counseling, a nano degree in leadership, and a bachelor's degree in theology. He's also married to his lovely wife, Janet, for over 21 years, and together they have 2 wonderful children, Jessica and Jude. Hello, Bishop Ransford Jones. It's a pleasure and a privilege having you on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me. I am really excited and delighted to be here with you.
I'm really looking forward to sharing more about you and your accomplishments with our audience. And I want to first congratulate you for winning the prestigious Harry Jerome Award from the Black Business and Professional Association, which was held just last month.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
It's a wonderful feeling. Whatever success I think I may have, I really attribute that to the grace of God. It is His grace that has really kept me and has enriched my life from my humble beginnings until where I'm at today. It is really His amazing grace. I can really say, thank the Lord for all of His blessings.
I just want to let our viewers get a clearer perspective of where you're coming from. So can you tell us a bit about your background and what it was like growing up before moving to Canada?
The journey began in a little district in Jamaica, in St. Mary, Jamaica, called Stewart Mountain, where my family grew up. Mm-hmm. My parents had 8 of us in our family. There are 6 girls and 2 boys. So I grew up around girls all my life. And we came from a very humble beginning when you look at deep rural Jamaica, where growing up in those days, even going to what we call elementary school today, it wasn't always easy. It was a very testing time. But the thing about that experience, though, is that though we grew up, I would say, in element of poverty, but you had such a freedom and liveliness about life. Most of the stuff that we had to get for sustenance were really the natural stuff. For example, we'd go to the river to swim. We would pick fruit off the trees and we would have those kind of fun days. So Then I eventually went to high school, and after high school, I moved to the city in the Kingston area, there, Portmore in particular, and finding employment during that time. And then that's where I really got saved and committed my life to the Lord under the leadership of my mentor, Bishop W.A. Blair. And from that time, the Lord has taken me in a new trajectory in my life. And I felt so blessed looking back on where I'm coming from and where I'm at today.
And you've come a far way, definitely.
Yes.
When did you realize your purpose, and what steps did you take to make your dream a reality? Because you've done so many things, but what was the main thing for you that made you realize that this is what I want to do with my life?
The turning point, I think it was really when I committed my life totally to the Lord, and working under the mentorship of my pastor. He was a man of such great vision and vigor and so many things that he accomplished and built. And I remember in one service, he was preaching, and he called me out, and he prophesied over me. And he said that the Lord had something bigger for you. He's going to bless you and use you. You're going to travel and preach the gospel all over the world and do some great things. And I was saying, wow, I had no clue that I would ever leave Jamaica.
How old were you? Do you remember how old you were?
Yeah. At that time, I was probably around 22 years old, just in my early 20s at that time. And that thing was embedded in me in such a remarkable way that, on the journey, I went into a corporate world for a while. And then I migrated to Canada in 1992. And that was really where most of my ministry experience started to evolve over time. And I felt the impression that God was doing something in my life. So coming to Canada, it was an experience because we came in the early 90s when there was a great recession. It was difficult to get employment at the time. And the Lord opened up an opportunity. I started working in the motor vehicle industry. Worked in that for over 20 years. I grew in that business until I went into management for a while. But then I was serving at another local church in a bivocational way, meaning that doing, in ministry and also working full time. And in 2008, I felt that it was time for me to move from the church. I got a great opportunity under a great man of God in Aging for Church of God, Bishop Delton Fraser. And then I felt impressed to start a new ministry into a new city. So we went north to Markham, and that was where we started our church now, called Destiny Gospel Center. As you see in our background, that is the name of our ministry, my wife and I. It was a brave step. At that time, my wife was pregnant. She was going to school, university, and also working part-time. So it was a challenging time. But we believed that the Lord was leading us in that area of ministry to start that. And it was easy starting a church from scratch. It was always so many challenges and difficulties. But through that, we saw the hand of God bringing us through his amazing grace. He brought some great people around us to help us along that journey. So we started in 2008, and here we are today. Although today we're in a virtual space. We haven't had church since last year, since we closed down the early stages of the pandemic. But God has blessed us. The online experience has been a new experience. We had to adapt. We had to be innovative and creative in what we're doing. Yes. So that our ministry reach does broaden, and we have done so many different things during that time.
You are correct. So many people have been impacted by the pandemic, and I know it's been hard for a lot of church leaders and also their congregation, because everybody wants to get back out and to some sense of normalcy. What advice would you give to someone who is a minister who is right now experiencing a challenge to help them cope? What's some advice you could offer that person?
Yes. As you mentioned, there's so many people who are really being challenged during this time. Many people, and a lot of pastors. Some are doing well. In fact, some people have adapted well to the new arena that we're working in. But there are others who are definitely struggling during this time. They're struggling in many different fronts. They're struggling emotionally, struggling mentally, they're struggling financially. spiritually. We stay connected in terms of developing some type of camaraderie. So there are people out there who will encourage us, pray with us, support us, give to you. So these are some of the things that I believe that as coping mechanisms to assist people who are really, really going through a difficult time. And it's tough on many people. We just got to pray and be hopeful and trust the Lord during these tough times.
Definitely. Having a support system is very important. Persons who may not necessarily have a support system, are there any resources that you could maybe direct persons who may be watching to? If so, I'm happy to drop any links or contact information in the description of this video below.
Again, it also depends on whom you're connected with. For me, myself, like every day I get up, I kind of plug myself into different ministries. I listen to a lot of different people, different preachers, different motivational speakers, people like T.D. Jakes, guys like Jensen Franklin. Listen to great Christian music that were able to inspire us during that time. Reading, good books, good encouraging motivational book, and which is the best of all is the Bible. Stay in tune with that word. Every day I have to get my intake of that word that is able to help, guide, sustain. There are many of these different motivational speakers and information that are there that people can tap into to help you along the journey.
The Bible for me is one of the great books, and if not the greatest book. So definitely tapping into that, the word is important. You are a prominent figure in the Church of God community and the larger community as a whole. Can you tell us about some of the causes, which I know there are numerous, some of the main causes close to your heart that you support and the reason for supporting them?
I serve in different community boards, association, organizations. I believe that as a church, we are not just called, and church leaders, we are not just called to stay in the four corners of the church and just do ministry as we know it. In fact, COVID-19 has caused us to look outside and to become more adaptable, to become more innovative, think out of the box, so to speak, and reach out to community, to assist community in this time. I serve on different boards, national board, international board. I serve on the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, which is a global council that was appointed by the government of Jamaica. And that really helps to mobilize and galvanize people in the Jamaican diaspora to see how we can work together to assist in Jamaica's sustainable development. That's one of the things. Since the COVID-19 experience last year and the whole issue with the anti-Black racism experience that came to light, that was inflamed by the George Floyd's death.
I saw you out there
yes.
a few times.
Yes. I believe in the cause of social justice, that those who are marginalized or downtrodden by elements of society or by the system that prevails. The issue with that whole issue of anti-Black racism that came to light because of George Floyd's experience, I believe that the church should have done more, and the church should have had a more positive, balanced voice in the whole dialogue. I decided that I don't know. There is always, and I think for most Jamaicans, there is a militancy about us that doesn't like to sit at ease when we see injustice.
That's so
and I thought that I would get involved in that based on my other experiences. So I sort of galvanize and mobilize some of our more prominent pastors in the GTA and rally them to at least come together to have a dialogue and see what we can do to assist in this issue. And so we kind of came together, a lot of different pastors from different denominations. And so they asked me to be the chairman for this. We call the Canadian Black Clergies and Allies. And so we have been working with government and community and different agencies, organizations to ensure that systemic anti-Black racism is literally dismantled in the Canadian society. So we are working on that front collectively to ensure that this kind of issue, at least our people get the opportunity to have justice, to to prosper, to succeed in the society. But the infrastructure that is there to facilitate this kind of a thing does and still exists in the Canadian society. And even the Prime Minister acknowledged that. Even the police force and our community have had an uneasy relationship with the police. And we have had many discussions with police brass, and there have been some changes since that time. We've seen, even just the last budget, we've seen, understand there's $500 million of investment that is coming to our community, and we want to tap into that to ensure that economically our people, especially our young people, get the opportunity to prosper and to succeed. If they want to get into business, get into entrepreneurship, those are some of the things that we're promoting to assist that. So those are some of the causes that I'm working on at this point.
Great many causes, and thank you for your efforts. And I know they don't go unnoticed. I know you've been married for several years. Yeah. You actually wrote a book called The Dynamics of Marriage. Yeah, and you've been married to the lovely Janet Jones, beautiful Janet Jones, for over 21 years. Tell us, what is a recipe to having a lasting marriage, especially in this time of the pandemic where so many relationships are being tested? We hear about the domestic violence, we hear about the divorce rates skyrocketing.
It has been a testing time for many people. On the other hand, there are many people who have thrived and have done well in their marriage. I can see you and Dale also is in the category. But the subject matter of marriage is also a very, very near and dear thing to me, because I speak out of my lived experience with my beautiful wife. We have been together this year's 22 years. And again, I attribute everything to the grace of God, that God's grace has assisted us during our journey. Each person, each couple, you got to make sure that you invest in your life, invest in your marriage. You literally have to make daily deliberate deposits, whether emotionally, physically, dealing with the issues that you know will help to sustain your family and help to sustain your marriage. It's said that from a male and female perspective, your spouse, my wife is, women are looking for three things specifically that will make them happy in their marriage. And it's affection, attention, and appreciation. If men can master those three things, you're 50% up the hill already to have a successful marriage. And
the 3 A's.
Yeah.
Affection, attention, and
appreciation. Yeah. Attention, affection, appreciation. Men are looking for respect. Men love to feel respected in their marriage. They do not want to feel emasculated in a way or to look down by their spouse. So a part of our ego wants us to have respect and support. A man is looking for support from his spouse, that you know that your wife is there to support. And that's what the Bible says. God brought Eve to Adam and said, she shall be your helpmeet. So you're looking for that support. And then man wants to be sexually and emotionally fulfilled by his wife. So these are three things from that the wife should give to her husband. And if you are facilitating those things and ensuring that you make them the priority in marriage, you will thrive, you will succeed, and your marriage will be a blessing. And again, as I said, that ensure that you're investing in it on a daily basis, whether you're doing it the spiritual way, praying for each other, encouraging each other in the word, emotionally, you're doing the things that fulfill each other emotionally. Finance is also a big thing in marriage, to ensure that you balance that, and that is a very, very important part of marital fidelity and how people grow together in their marriage. Very important things.
I liked how you touched on the finance, because a lot of couples are finding, because of whether it be job loss due to the pandemic, or some places are under lockdown right now. So some couples find that their monthly income has been significantly reduced, right? So
and that causes stress and strain, and then it causes argument, and then people start fussing, and all of a sudden, one little thing that should have cemented your relationship, it is now tearing you apart. And there were so many stories about those kind of things, but when things are tough in family, in marriage, that is the time we got to hunker down and ensure that we're there for each other. We have learned to make adjustments and to try our best to ensure that we stick together and stay together during these tough times.
Yes. And seek out help,
Yes.
For in silence, yes.
Yes, you're right. Very, very important point. Talk to somebody, a trusted friend, a counselor, somebody, tell them how you're feeling. And if you need to really get professional counseling, go and get it.
Exactly. Who are some of your mentors
Yes.
that you turn to inspire and motivate you? I know you mentioned T.D. Jakes and other well-known spiritual leaders, but you care to elaborate some more?
Yes, I have I would say 3 or 4 people who I really connect with. Bishop Blair was my first mentor, who really poured into me, and I learned so much from him, not only on the spiritual perspective, but about life lessons and how you grow and develop as a man. I also have Kenny Blake. He was a former superintendent of our church here in Canada, somebody who I connected with, who I can talk with, brush things off. And I have a dear friend of mine. His name is Eric Tappenden. He's a businessman, and he's just such an amazing human being, an amazing person, amazing friend. And then I have my best friend, Bishop Raymond Rose. He's over in Long Island, New York there, but we grew up together from in Jamaica, and that's my best friend. And we always, checking on each other, communicate with each other, share ministry. When COVID wasn't, we usually travel back and forth to visit each other. So those are people who I look up to as mentors.
He was actually one of my Sunday school teachers.
Yeah, you're right. Yes. Everybody should have at least one mentor, somebody who that you can look up as, somebody who can pour into you, somebody who can hold you accountable also. In this journey of life, we've got to have firewall. We've got to have people around us, who can check in on us, who can ensure in that, hey, listen, we're on the right path, we're on the right track. Even though we're adults, we still need that kind of a firewall and protection around us.
Bishop, how did you come up with the name Destiny Gospel Center? What's the story behind that?
It's very interesting. When we were just about to start this new work in the City of Markham, we really sat down, we prayed about it, we thought it through. There were different names that came out. So when we thought about destiny, we are on a path, a road, a trajectory to make things happen. Because most people think of destiny as a destination, but destiny is really a journey towards your destination. And we thought that we were people on a journey to help propagate the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ, and to help share that good news with people. So Destiny Gospel Center was a name that we agreed on, that would breathe life into that experience, and that would propel us along that journey. Just as the children of Israel were going into Canaan, they were on their destiny to Canaan land. We believe that we are on a destiny to build the kingdom of God.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Story. This has been such a great conversation, Bishop. I can't believe the time is almost ended. What else would you like other people to know, our audience to know more about yourself, or anything else you care to share?
In my downtime, I like to read a good book. I like to play Scrabble, and I like to play golf.
Yes.
So those are the things you gotta have a downtime. You gotta have time when you just rest and relax and recuperate, all right, and take your mind off so many of the things that are happening around you. So those are some of the leisurely things. But the most important thing for me is just spending time with my family. I have 2 children, my wife, and I just love to spend that very important and precious time with them. And that for me is such a wonderful thing. And I thank God for blessing me with just an amazing family. And we just grow together, and hope that my impact and influence in my children's life will cause them to be inspired and to grow as they are. My daughter is just matriculated in university. She's going to start in September, and that's another milestone that for her.
Congratulations, Jessica.
Yes, you're looking to guide her and to assist her on that new frontier, the new journey that she'll be taking on.
Awesome. It was a pleasure, Bishop Ransford Jones.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show today. And for persons who would like to connect with you or to know more about you, care to share how they can do that?
Yes, they can go on my church's website, destinygospelcenter.ca, and they can find out more information about that. Myself and my church. Certainly they'll get some information. Or they can just Google me. I notice these days I am on Google certain in the sphere, so you can Google me and find more information.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Diane. It was a pleasure sharing this special time with you.
I can't believe the time has
I know already. Wow.
Just want to thank everyone for tuning in today for another episode of Conversations with Diana.
Thank you so much, and come to